My son, my daughter, right at this moment a message is reaching you, and I need you to stay here for just a few more minutes, without getting distracted, without scrolling past, without doubting the reason that brought you to these words. You might think you just stumbled upon this video while scrolling through your feed, but there is a type of meeting that doesn't happen by chance. There is a type of coincidence that is, in truth, direction. And if your heart tightened for an instant when you read the title, if something inside you felt a silent call, then understand this. Your spirit recognized what your tired mind is trying to deny. You are not here by mistake. You have not been forgotten. You have not been left behind. You have been kept. And I say this firmly because I saw what you didn't see. I saw doors closing in front of you. I saw opportunities that seemed to be yours slipping through your fingers. I saw promises that seemed so close drifting away right when you needed them most. I saw you pray and hear silence. I saw you try again and again and feel as if the world wasn't answering. I saw you ask yourself, on nights no one knows about, if God was ignoring you, if heaven had grown tired of you, if you were paying for something, if you were being punished for having hope. Listen clearly. You were never ignored. You were being protected from things that looked good, but couldn't withstand the weight of what is coming. What you called a delay was a shield. What you called rejection was redirection. What you called a loss was heaven removing what was draining your peace before it destroyed your future. There were paths you should never have taken, rooms where you should never have sat, alliances you should never have made, people with whom you should never have built anything. And because you couldn't see the curve ahead, the protection sometimes felt like punishment. You looked back and thought, why didn't I make it? Why didn't it open? Why me? And I tell you, because what was behind that door couldn't sustain your next season. It looked like an opportunity, but it was a burden. It looked like advancement, but it was a trap. It looked like an answer, but it was a detour. There is a time when the sky closes up to save you. There is a time when heaven goes silent to keep you alive on the inside. Because if you received what you asked for too early, you would also receive the chains hidden within that gift. And I know it hurts to hear this, because you didn't want a detour, you just wanted to breathe. You didn't want greatness, you just wanted stability. You didn't want luxury, you just wanted to stop counting pennies and start counting days. You just wanted simple relief, a little peace, a sign that the struggle wouldn't be eternal. And yet life seemed to tighten its grip, as if everything became harder precisely when you decided to change, precisely when you decided to improve, precisely when you decided to believe. You started to feel that restlessness inside, as if something was about to happen, as if the ground was moving beneath your feet, as if your chest carried a rush that no one could understand. That restlessness isn't meaningless anxiety. That restlessness is your spirit sensing the change before your eyes do. You feel it because it's close. You feel it because something is turning. You feel it because the old chapter is closing and the new one is starting to push against the door. And I need you to remember who you've been lately. You were the person who kept showing up even when you were exhausted on the inside. You were the person holding it all together for everyone else while no one was holding you. You were the person smiling on the outside while breaking on the inside. You were the person saying it's okay when it wasn't. There were days when you wanted to quit, and yet you didn't quit. There were nights when you thought you couldn't handle one more morning, and yet you woke up. There were moments when you felt alone, even in a crowded room, and yet you kept going. This did not go unnoticed. This was counted. This was seen. And I come to tell you that the tunnel you have been walking through is starting to open up to the light. Maybe you don't feel the full warmth yet, but the first rays are already touching your face. The version of you that learned to survive in the dark is about to meet the version of you born to thrive in the light. And I don't mean thrive just in terms of dollars. I mean thrive in life, in breath, in joy that doesn't depend on the mood of others, in peace that isn't stolen by the news, by bills, by memories, by fear. You were never made to fight forever. You were never made to carry pain as an identity. The pain you went through wasn't sent to destroy you. It was allowed to reveal a power inside you that comfort never would have revealed. Because for where you are going, you needed depth. You needed discernment. You needed compassion without naivety. You needed to learn to say no. You needed to learn to walk away from what makes you sick. And maybe you don't understand it yet, But heaven was building a structure in you that can handle weight, because what is coming isn't small. Have you noticed how at times you almost made it? You almost closed that deal, almost got out of that debt, almost healed from that pain, almost had enough money, almost found happiness. You lived for a long time in a state of almost as if life left you at the water's edge without letting you dive in. And that hurt, because almost is exhausting. Almost gives hope and then cuts it off. Almost makes you blame yourself. Almost makes you think you are the problem. But listen, almost is not your destiny. This era of almost is ending. You are entering an era of finally. Finally understanding why certain things had to fall. Finally seeing why certain people had to leave. Finally realizing that it wasn't about you being insufficient. It was about you being moved. Because where you are going, not everyone can follow. Some people who drifted away, who grew cold, who changed suddenly. They weren't made to sit in the front row of your future. It's not that you aren't lovable. It's that your next season demands maturity, truth, and alignment, and a lot of people don't want to grow up. A lot of people want to stay in the same place, and heaven won't allow you to carry those who chose to stagnate, because that would delay your healing, and it would also delay what God wants to do with your finances. Yes, with your finances, because the theme of this message isn't just emotional comfort, it is provision, it is structure, it is concrete change. But before I speak clearly about that, I need you to hold on to one thing. There is a specific key hidden within these words. Something is going to click in your spirit and unlock the next level of your life. This isn't just a pretty speech. This is activation. It's as if a piece that was out of place is starting to fit. It's as if your heart, which has been protecting itself from disappointment, is starting to crack open just a sliver. And I know your mind will try to sabotage you, saying, "This is too good to be true. This can't be for me. I've heard things like this before and nothing changed." But your spirit knows better. Your spirit remembers quiet moments when you felt the change coming. You felt it when you woke up for no reason in the middle of the night, as if someone were calling you out of sleep. You felt it that day when, after the last big disappointment, a strange calm came over you, as if something inside you said, "It's over." You felt it when life pushed you to let go of something you thought you couldn't live without. That wasn't random. That was preparation. That was heaven shifting the gears. So now, I ask you for a small step of faith, a simple gesture but full of strength. Subscribe to this channel and write in the comments, "I choose my new beginning." Not for appearances, not for the algorithm, but as a declaration. Your words carry power. When you speak your intention, you plant it in reality. When you write it, you aren't talking to me. You are talking to your own life. You are telling your past, "You don't define me anymore." You are telling your future, "I receive you." And while you do that, breathe with me for a moment. Inhale slowly. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the space around you. Let your jaw relax. Let your shoulders drop a little. You have been holding on to control so tightly that your hands are tired. And I need you to hear this. It is safe to let go. You aren't abandoning your life. You are handing over the part that was never yours to carry. The constant fear, the need to force results, the obsession with timing, the shame of not having arrived yet. You waited a long time, longer than most people would understand. But your waiting wasn't empty. Your waiting was a test of posture, and you didn't become bitter. You didn't corrupt yourself. You kept some ember of hope alive even when the fire seemed to have gone out. And that is why your reward isn't coming as crumbs. It is coming as restoration. It is coming as alignment. It is coming as divine justice, balancing out what seemed unfair. Now, I want you to understand something profound. Many of the things you lost recently weren't the end of your story. They were the pruning before the bloom. You went through a season where it seemed like everything you loved was being cut away. The familiar crumbled, the comfortable disappeared. People you thought would always be there became distant, cold, or silent. It hurt. It was confusing. It made you question your worth. But you weren't being reduced, you were being refined. Dead branches had to be removed so new life could grow. Draining connections had to be released so real connections could find you. Situations that diminished you had to end so the future that expands you could begin. And I know that in the middle of it, you tried to make sense of it, tried to find a reason, tried to convince yourself you were strong. But the strength you needed wasn't the kind that hardens you. It was the kind that keeps your heart clean. Because where you are going, God isn't taking you broken on the inside. He is taking you whole. And that is why, before the increase comes, your energy is being restored. You may have noticed a tiredness with no clear reason. Tension accumulated in your shoulders, a tightness in your chest, knots in your stomach. Your body has been carrying the weight of worries you haven't spoken aloud. Every forced "I'm fine" while you were falling apart settled somewhere inside you. But that weight is starting to dissolve. The stress trapped in your nervous system is being lifted. Cycles of fatigue are breaking. The cloud over your thoughts is clearing. You will notice this in small things first. Sleep that's a little deeper. Breathing that's easier. Thoughts that are less heavy. A will to live returning without you having to force it. This isn't imagination. This is preparation. Because what use is a blessing if you are too exhausted to hold it? What use is an opportunity if your mind is so tired you don't even believe you deserve it? So yes, before doors open on the outside, something opens on the inside. And now I'm going to get to the heart of this revelation, what God wants to do with your finances. Pay attention, because this is where many people get distracted, and I don't want you to miss the point. You may have felt that money goes out faster than it comes in. You may have lived in survival mode for so long that enough seems like a distant dream. You stretched, sacrificed, planned, and still felt like you were falling behind. You've done mental math at the grocery store, chosen the cheapest option, cut what you liked, postponed what you needed, and yet it seemed life always put you back on the same corner. You've been afraid to open your banking app. You felt ashamed of needing help. You've gone to sleep thinking, what if something happens and I can't pay for it? This cycle of lack is not your identity. This pressure is not your heritage. And I'll say more. There is an energy around your resources that is shifting right now, not like irresponsible magic, but like alignment and repositioning. God doesn't just want to give you money. God wants to give you the wisdom to sustain what comes. He wants to take you out of the desperation that makes you accept anything, in any way, for any price. He wants to take you out of the fear that makes you sell yourself short, stay silent, diminish yourself, and settle for crumbs. He wants to place within you a security that depends neither on applause nor on luck. And because of this, new streams of income, inspired ideas, doors you hadn't considered, contacts, invitations, creative solutions, they are starting to prepare to open. Maybe you're thinking, but I don't see anything. You don't need to see everything right now. You just need to remain open, because there are provisions that arrive unexpectedly. There are answers that come through a simple conversation. There are paths that are born from a message, an email, a referral, a meeting. And I say this with authority. A vault that was locked over your life is starting to open. And it opens not just for you to survive, but for you to breathe, for you to live with a little lightness, for you to stop feeling guilty for buying something simple for yourself, for you to be able to say yes to what is good for you without feeling like you're stealing from the future. God wants to restructure your finances in your favor, but along with that, He wants to restructure your mindset. Because you spent too much time thinking, how am I going to make it? Now you will be trained to think, how can I bless others? And that shift in perspective sustains wealth and sustains joy. Because when you learn to manage with peace, money stops being a monster chasing you and becomes a tool serving you. I know you proved your faithfulness with little. You gave even when you barely had anything. You helped even when you had every excuse not to. You shared even when things were tight. You held the line for a long time. You carried people on your back while no one carried you. And that was not wasted. That was a seed. Every act of love created ripples. Every time you chose kindness instead of cruelty, every time you remained soft when you could have become bitter, all of that echoed. And that echo is coming back to you as favor, as open doors, as unexpected kindness, as opportunities that look like luck, but are actually alignment. You aren't entering a moment of random luck. You are entering a new cycle. And the proof is that, on the inside, something has already started to change. You are closer than you imagine. You are on the edge of your breakthrough. Feel the excitement growing in your spirit even if your circumstances still look the same. Because external changes often follow internal change. First the energy changes, then the path changes. First the posture changes, then the doors change. You survived what would have caused many to crumble, and I honor your survival. But I need to tell you, that identity is no longer big enough for you. You are being moved from surviving to thriving, from enduring to enjoying, from resisting to flowing. And this stirs your soul because for a long time you got used to the struggle. You got used to scarcity. You got used to anxiety. You almost made the fight your home. But now heaven is calling you to a place where peace isn't a visitor. It's a resident. And that is why some things needed to get out of your way. People with confusing intentions, plans that would have hurt you, conversations that would have wounded you, environments that would have drained your strength. You cannot carry yesterday's baggage into tomorrow's palace. You cannot drag into the future those who aren't willing to grow. What is being built for you is too sacred, too brilliant, too expansive to be weighed down by what was. And maybe you are thinking about your family, your children, your lineage, the repeated patterns of lack and fear. Listen carefully. Old cycles are breaking with you. You are the one who changes the history. You are the curse breaker. You are the pattern shifter. You are the pathfinder. Because of your courage to heal, your children and your children's children will live lighter lives. They will start where you spent years trying to reach. They will look back and realize that someone before them decided not to continue the same script, that someone is you. And I know this seems big, but that is exactly why you went through so much refinement. Gold goes through the fire, diamonds are born under pressure. And you, my child, you didn't burn. You were purified, you were polished. You can carry more now. More love, more responsibility, more blessings, more joy. And that is why what is coming needs to find you ready, whole, aware of your worth. You will no longer settle for crumbs when you were born to sit at a table that overflows. Now stop with me for an instant. If these words are resonating, I invite you to anchor this moment once more. Subscribe to this channel and comment. I claim my peace. It isn't just pressing a button, it is you saying, I am done rehearsing my pain. I am choosing my peace. I am participating in my own healing. Because when you choose peace, you make room to receive. When you choose peace, you see opportunities. When you choose peace, you make better decisions. Haste made you accept too little. Fear made you fall into traps. Guilt made you punish yourself. But now your mind is being washed, your vision is clearing, and what once seemed confusing is starting to gain direction. You may have felt like you were wandering without a map. There were days when you questioned everything. Did I miss my chance? Did I take the wrong turn? Is there still time for me? Hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be for what is about to unfold. Every detour refined your discernment. Every delay sharpened your intuition. Every disappointment taught you to read signs you used to ignore. The fog that clouded your vision is lifting, and you are about to understand the why behind so many past events. The puzzle pieces are rearranging themselves, and the image they are forming is more beautiful than anything you would have chosen on your own. And when this starts to appear, you will look back and say, now it makes sense. Now I understand. Now I see why it wasn't meant to be that way. You will start to find yourself in the right place, at the right time, with the right people, without having to force it. Doors will open without you begging. Opportunities will find you without you chasing them until you hurt yourself. This is alignment. This is heaven responding to a posture you maintained even when no one applauded. You will notice that breathing gets easier. You will notice the tightness loosening. You will notice the constant fight starting to fade. And when the provision comes, you will recognize it not as a stroke of luck, but as a spiritual consequence. You remained kind when life was cruel. You kept your heart open when it would have been safer to close it. You didn't let your soul turn to stone. And because of that, God is placing gold in your hands. Yes, gold in the sense of real value, of resources, of stability, of comfort, of beauty. You have permission to live well. You have permission to enjoy your days. You have permission to experience ease without guilt. And don't confuse this with vanity. Comfort is not a sin when it is born from an aligned heart. Stability is not pride when it is born from a healing process. God wants to take you from a state of survival to a state of contribution, so that you don't live just putting out fires but building, so that you don't live just resisting but creating, so that you don't live just running from fear but walking toward purpose. Now, pay close attention to your dreams, to your sudden ideas, to the gentle nudges in your heart. You may feel drawn to visit a specific place, send a message to a specific person, start a project you've been putting off, study something, organize something, close a cycle. Follow these impulses with wisdom and peace. They are not random. They are breadcrumbs leading you to your treasure. A divine team walks with you, rearranging circumstances, aligning timing, and preparing favorable results. And I know you might think, but I've tried before. Yes, you tried before with a bruised soul, with a tired mind, with a suspicious heart. Now is different. Now you aren't trying to prove something to someone. Now you are walking because you know who you are. You are loved. You are protected. You are chosen. Nothing and no one can block what has been ordained for you by a power greater than any human resistance. And I need you to visualize for a moment. Without fear of dreaming big, imagine waking up soon and feeling a peace you haven't felt since you were a child, before the heartbreak, before the loss, before the anxiety. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing someone radiant, confident, alive. Imagine opening your bills and feeling relief rather than panic. Imagine receiving good news that makes you sit down and take a deep breath because for a second you can't believe it. And then you smile because you understand, this is it. This isn't empty positive thinking. This is your reality unfolding. Debts that seemed impossible start to move little by little, like a heavy door finally giving way. Money arrives through expected and unexpected channels, and more importantly, you gain the clarity to keep it, manage it, and multiply it with peace. You start to realize that true wealth is sustained by an aligned spirit, and you are being aligned. You will have enough for your needs, for your desires, and for your generosity. And the blessing that lands on your life doesn't stop with you. It overflows. It touches your family, your loved ones, your community. It breaks patterns in your home. It opens paths for those who come after. Every tear you cried was collected. Nothing was wasted. For every year of deep struggle, you are being prepared for years of rest and restoration. For every heartache, a love aligned with your truth is being woven into your path. For every loss, a restoration with purpose. And as this message comes to a close, I don't want you to let this feeling fade. Keep this warmth in your chest. Take it with you into every room you enter. Take it to your job, to your home, into your day. You are not the same person who started listening to these words. Something is already changing in you. And when your vibration rises, what matches that higher energy starts to draw near. People, places, opportunities, ideas. You have been looking at a small piece, but heaven sees the whole picture. You only see the page. God sees the book. And if today you needed confirmation, here it is. The season of waiting is ending. You are entering a time of acceleration. What used to take years will start to unfold in months, sometimes in weeks, not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped swimming against the current of your own destiny. You are learning to float with it, to trust, to let life carry you to what is yours. And now, to seal this definitively, I invite you one last time. Subscribe to this channel and comment. I accept my divine inheritance. With this, you affirm that you are no longer watching your life from the bleachers. You are participating. You are receiving. You are embodying. You are sharing abundance. And your words don't just anchor this for you. They can serve as a light for someone else reading, someone who needs to remember they aren't alone in the coming days. Walk with your head held high, knowing that the one who hung the stars also holds your future. You are not an accident. You are an answer. You are a living, breathing miracle in motion. This is your day of liberation, the day you stop believing the lies that told you weren't enough and start believing the truth of who you really are. You are a masterpiece in progress, and the finishing touches are being added right now. Go forward with courage. Go forward with love. Go forward knowing that your best days are not behind you. They are right in front of you, waiting for you to step into them. You are ready, you are prepared, you are blessed beyond measure. The change has already begun, and your new life starts now.